Count us in. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
The idea was to slow him down. At the time he was 9, this was 2 years ago, and his little sister was 5. Thought he'd give him something to learn instead of just waiting around on us. That initial setup was pretty makeshift. 3-pin binding, old pair of skis, pair of women's T2s we'd picked up at a ski swap. From his first time off the lift, he could ski them great, but he couldn't get in and out of those 3-pin bindings to save his life. The next year, we got him a pair of black diamond bindings that had a heel cable. That was a turning point. He could get in and out of them, and they boosted the performance right up there to where it really wasn't a whole lot different for him than skiing on his Alpine. You can see him here, age 10, skiing that setup.
How's that going?
I'll never forget the first time we went into the backcountry together. It was one of those days where the mountain was getting pretty packed out. There was a lot of powder still hanging in the backcountry. We skinned up the top of this glade, and he looked down on a stretch of fresh powder, and he turned to me, almost in disgust, and said, "I can't believe you've been coming up here without me." I knew then the Tele was here to stay.
We're finding about knee-deep powder on me, and it's been pretty much an awesome day so far. They're definitely not as forgiving as my Alpine. I remember this time when I was still getting used to them. It was early in the season, and not all the lifts were open. My dad and I skinned up to this run. It's one of my favorite runs, down through the woods with a couple of cliff bands that you can launch. Well, I launched the first band, but when I landed in all this fresh powder, my skis slowed down, but I kept going, right over the tips. I got up and was picking snow out of my goggles. My dad came over and said, "You know, they say Telemark means faceplant in Norwegian." For me, Tele's never really been about the turn. It's about getting around the mountain, getting to the backcountry, finding the powder, or finding the drops, and then skiing them the way I liked.
I think Tele's a pretty good option for a kid, especially if you're a backcountry skier yourself and want to try to share some of that backcountry experience with your kid.